Good evening, I'm Christian Halstead, and here's the news of the day from a both sides perspective, starting with Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi announcing today that the Department of Justice will pursue the death penalty against Luigi Mangione for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The murder, of course, took place in New York City, and the state of New York abolished the death penalty in 2007, but the federal government is stepping in with its own charges under this legal doctrine called dual sovereignty, which pretty much means both the state and federal government are their own individual sovereign entities and can prosecute their own crimes. Therefore, the federal government holds the right to pursue the death penalty even in states where it's not legal. This was done, for instance, in the Dylan Roof case in 2017 when Dylan launched a racially motivated mass shooting at a majority black church in South Carolina. The state did not pursue the death penalty, but the federal government did and got it. Now, the Trump administration is looking to do the same exact thing for Luigi. In other news, today is a big day in Wisconsin and Florida, as both are holding elections. In Wisconsin, the most expensive judicial race in this country's history is taking place for a state Supreme Court seat between the conservative-leaning Brad Schimmel versus the liberal-leaning Susan Crawford. Both Elon Musk on the right and George Soros on the left have poured tens of millions of dollars into this race, as the Wisconsin Supreme Court currently has 4 liberals and 3 conservatives, and the race is for one of the liberals' seats, so whoever wins this race will have the 4-3 majority. Wisconsin also has some major cases coming up that will affect the rest of the country, and most importantly, one aimed at redrawing the congressional maps of Wisconsin. You see, Trump won Wisconsin by 0.9% in 2024, so it's basically a 50-50 state, yet Wisconsin has 6 Republican members of Congress, but only 2 Democrats. Democrats blame this on gerrymandered congressional maps that were drawn by GOP operatives in 2011. Therefore, the courts have agreed to take cases surrounding these concerns, and Republicans fear if Democrats have the Supreme Court, the maps will have to be redrawn, and Democrats could pick up some seats in Washington, D.C. And as we know, the Republicans currently have the slimmest majority in 94 years in the House of Representatives at 218 to 213. So every seat is crucial, which is why the 2 congressional races in Florida today, replacing Matt Gaetz and Mike Waltz, are so important as well. I'll have updates on both these races tomorrow. And finally, Cory Booker.
He promised to lower your grocery prices, they're higher. He promised, I'll be a better steward of the economy. It's worse than we inherited. Over and over, he's breaking promises and doing outrageous things.
The senator from New Jersey has, at the time of this filming, been speaking for 21 hours straight on the floor of the Senate. Now, this is not a filibuster, as there's no piece of legislation being delayed by Cory. Instead, he's giving a political speech about his perceived dangers of the Trump administration. According to Senate rules, there's no time limit for how long a senator can speak, as long as they don't sit down or don't yield the floor. The longest speech ever given by a senator was 24 hours and 18 minutes by Strom Thurmond in 1957. Now, the only time Cory can stop speaking is when he's receiving a question by other senators. So this is a way for him to get these short-handed breaks from speaking, as these other senators can ask him questions that last a couple minutes at a time. Cory is also not allowed to use the bathroom during this time, although there's been some speculation in the past on whether or not these senators use adult diapers during these long speeches to allow for the flow of liquids and possibly solids, or maybe Cory is just good at holding it. By the time you're watching this video, though, we'll likely know if Cory broke the record. Tomorrow is also so-called Liberation Day, where Trump is expected to announce his slew of reciprocal tariffs. So we're going to have a lot to talk about tomorrow. So I'll see you then at 7 p.m. Central Time, like always, going over the news of the day from a both sides perspective. Please consider subscribing. Be one of my first subscribers. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day. Good night.